Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Microsoft Pulse. I'm joined today with Matthew Ruderman and Thomas Duff, and we're going to go through the Microsoft roadmap so you don't have to. We're not going through the whole roadmap, that would be insane. We are instead going to go over what's new and what's changed, and we'll go over how it may impact you so you can decide whether or not you want to worry about this new thing coming out. So we're going to get started. It's broken down into four groupings. Four groupings. It's broken down to in development, which means Microsoft is working on it. Rolling out, which means it's starting to be deployed to the tenants. Launched, which means you should see it now if you're in the scoped tenant. And canceled or duplicated, which means it's been canceled or it's a duplicate. So let's get started. Matthew Ruderman, let's throw it to you for what's safe and secure.
All right. So a bunch of things in development here for this week. I will start with an update to Microsoft Purview Insider Risk Management. This is reduced temporary file noise for endpoint activities in IRM. So essentially what Microsoft is doing with this update is they are going to create some global exclusions for this IRM process to help just reduce the amount of extra content that gets loaded into the IRM system and make it easier for administrators to look through that content and find what actually matters, and not some of the noise that can exist within the IRM system, because that insider risk management system captures a lot of data. Let's take a look at that is coming to standard worldwide tenants with a release date of July of this year. We'll next look at some data lifecycle management updates. There's a few of them this week within Purview. One of them is hard delete capability for OneDrive and SharePoint through secure priority cleanup workflows. This is the ability to select a hard delete option, which will skip the recycle bins on either the SharePoint site or the OneDrive sites. When you are using the data lifecycle management functionality inside of Purview, if you want to just get rid of some stuff, administrators will have the ability to do that. This capability was already set up for standard worldwide. It is now coming to GCC, GCC High, and DoD with a July launch date. Next, within data lifecycle management, we have Archive OneDrive and SharePoint files under retention. This will give you the ability, normally, in a normal scenario, if a file on SharePoint Online and OneDrive is under retention, that file does not move, it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't change, it is rendered roughly immutable, or at least a version is, for those retention purposes. This will give the ability for Purview administrators to say, even though this content is on a retention policy, let's move it into the archive and keep it under retention in the archive where storage costs are cheaper. This also has this is a June release date for standard worldwide.
So, Matt, I just have a question. Do you know, does that mean the storage is still going to be in SharePoint or does it get moved off to like a blob storage or Azure files?
If I remember correctly, it's a weird Microsoft loves to create little special zones within your tenant to put certain types of data.
Okay.
I think it's one of those. I think technically it is blob on the back end, but it's structured specifically for SharePoint and OneDrive archiving because, as we all know, SharePoint sites and OneDrive sites are special, and they run on a special back end. So, like, you can't just necessarily drop those sites in an unstructured zone, or else you lose metadata and other important details that you might need if you unarchive that content.
Great. Thank you, sir.
You are welcome. One last thing to mention about this archive feature, it does keep the data discoverable and still allows Copilot to interact with the content to pull data. So it does make it available. It's just not, you can't actively visit the site because it is an archive state. Last one coming to data lifecycle management within Purview is insights and policy recommendations on Microsoft Copilot and AI apps interactions for better data security and compliance posture. It's exactly what it reads like on the tin. Microsoft is bringing into the data lifecycle management functionality in Purview the ability to leverage insight and policy recommendations for Copilot and AI app interactions to provide better data security and compliance posture. That is coming in July of this year and is coming to standard worldwide. A few more items. Use sensitivity labels to block all connected experiences that analyze content in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. This will give Purview administrators the ability to prevent some connected experience that analyze content based on a label setting that will essentially prevent files with that label from being interacted with some of these connected experiences. This gives you the ability to say, I don't want this type of data to be
nowhere.
processed through different sort of connected experiences you can have inside of Microsoft 365. Gives you better control over that content and where it's processed and how it's used.
So it keeps it outside of like Copilot.
The ability to keep it outside of Copilot was actually a different feature Microsoft launched, I want to say actually last year, if I recall correctly. This is for other connected experiences that you might have joined into your tenant.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Great questions. This is set to come out in June, and this is coming to standard worldwide, GCC, GCC High, and DoD all at the same time. Everybody wins. Okay. Couple more. Microsoft Information Protection File Viewer and File Labeler and File Viewer in Mac OS. This feature is bringing the information protection filer label. Filer is a hard word to say. Filer label and viewer application to Mac OS, enabling customers who are running on a Mac to have the same capabilities you have in Windows. This has been a long time coming. For the longest time, if you were using Microsoft Information Protection and you were on a Mac, you did not get the full set of capabilities. You couldn't easily label PDFs and image files and all sorts of other pieces of content. Soon you will be able to, and by soon I mean September, and if you're in standard worldwide. Last two. Microsoft Purview eDiscovery, enhancement of Loop and Copilot pages in review and export. This will improve the eDiscovery workflows for Loop and Copilot pages by enabling full indexing of page content for keyword search within the review sets and adding HTML format support to the export for search or from search. This is big. Microsoft loves to release new features to us and then worry about the security and compliance things later. Loop and Copilot pages are a really good example of that. This helps to shore up some of the gaps within these experiences for Loop and Copilot pages and allow eDiscovery administrators to be able to find content much more easily. June release date to standard worldwide and GCC, GCC High, and DoD. And the last one is actually for Microsoft Edge, and it is passkey sync for enterprise users. This will give enterprise users of Microsoft Edge, so if your Edge instance at your work is managed by your organization, which a lot of companies do now, you will be able to sync your passkeys across trusted devices, which will allow you to more easily and securely log into different applications or experiences. This has a June release date coming to Microsoft Edge for standard worldwide. Great. I am done with in-development items.
What? I had you scheduled for another 20 minutes, sir.
I could have taken another 20 minutes.
I was going to say, there was more content out there.
I figured one of the two of you would like to talk in this in-development section and it not just be the Matt show.
Yeah, I found a couple things in the development section, and then we'll let Tom go. Microsoft Teams SharePoint thumbnail previews. So Microsoft Teams on desktop now shows rich link previews when you share SharePoint pages. Links automatically expand into a visually appealing card with a thumbnail image and page description, making it easier to understand and engage with the shared SharePoint content directly in Teams. So when I say you're creating a page that you do not have to put in a description for the page, now you do. That's June, and that's coming to the standard tenant.
Always fill
Even
out your descriptions.
access. What, sir?
Always fill out your descriptions.
Always fill out your descriptions. Yes. It helps the new person at the job.
Mm-hmm.
Even access got some love in development. Cascading combo and list boxes with link master fields to link child fields. Basically, what they're doing is they're enabling cascading drop downs. Country filters to city, filters to county, filters to zip code, filters to neighborhood, right? Without writing VBA code. So this is coming out in August worldwide to the standard tenant. So I'm excited about that. I love me some access. And then Microsoft Teams updated custom backgrounds for team events. So organizers and presenters who have access to production tools can now upload custom backgrounds in the Manage What Attendees See experience for Teams events. This means webinars, town halls, things like that. This enhancement allows organizations to display their brand identity by replacing the default backgrounds with their own images, such as company logos. Might I suggest that instead of centering your company logo in your background, that you put it high and in one corner? Otherwise, the person blocks the logo. Event-specific artwork or themed visuals. Custom backgrounds appear behind the presenter and the content, giving the attendees a polished viewing experience. This feature is available for Teams event organizers with a Teams Premium license. This feature is available on Teams for Windows Desktop and Mac Desktop. That comes out in June for the worldwide standard tenant. And I think that's all I had in development. Tom, what do you see that you like in development?
Few things out here. So in Copilot, the Work IQ APIs. So that's like when you click that little plus symbol in the chat, and it gives you all the things you can select from work information, such as files and things like that. We've got 3 different changes going on there. So for those APIs, endpoints, declarative agent access. So you'll be able to do programmatic access to first-party intent-defined declarative agents via the Work IQ endpoint. So you can trigger specialized agents in other domains and stuff like that. Then you also have remote MCP server support. So MCP is like the major server background standard-ish thing that allows you to build these agents that go out and do various things and come back and talk to other agents and stuff like that. So you'll actually be able to connect to remote MCP agents, enabling agents to securely invoke external tools and services beyond the local runtime. So again, it's basically allowing you to go out and grab stuff that other people have developed, and security is going to be involved there, yes. But you don't have to develop everything your own or yourself in that environment. And then the final one is a unified REST endpoint for agents and workflows. So this will be a new REST endpoint for WorkIQ that serves as a unified entry point for invoking agents and workflows, providing a consistent, scalable alternative to legacy Copilot chat endpoints. All those things are coming out in June to the worldwide tenant. Scrolling on down, this one's interesting, especially I think in our environment where we're undergoing some integrations with some other organizations, introducing Exchange Online cross-tenant message recall. So they're enhancing the message recall to add support for cross-tenant recalls. Today, you can recall messages only from your organization. Cross-tenant will allow you to recall messages sent to other organizations that add your tenant to their recall allow list. So they have to play with you on this one. If you just can't say, oh, I'm going to go ahead and pull my stuff back from those people. No, if they don't add you in there, you're not going to make that happen. But that's coming out in August, and it's coming out basically to everybody. Multi-tenant, GCC, GCC and DoD. Copilot informs U.S. government clouds. You guys are getting it. GCC, GCC High, and DoD. So if you're used to using forms, you'll have Copilot in there, and you'll be able to do all the things that the other cool kids can do. That's coming out in September for you. Simplified design for the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. So if you're thinking, God, that page would look better if it were redesigned, that's going to happen. Refresh design for the Microsoft 365 Copilot web and desktop app simplifies the user's experience to drive engagement. This includes updates to the chat home screen, chat response layout, and navigation page coming out in June to the worldwide tenant. Copilot settings in Classic Outlook for Windows. So Classic Outlook's getting some love since they can't get everybody to want to jump on board with new Outlook. You'll now be able to access different Copilot settings directly in Classic Outlook for Windows. That's coming out in July to the worldwide tenant. And I think there's only one more thing that I'm going to go ahead and mention, and that's in Outlook. Export to PDF, preserving sensitivity labels. So you'll be able to create a PDF from an email message and preserve the sensitivity label that was attached to that particular email. This feature is accessible from File, Open Export, Create PDF, coming out in July and going out to the worldwide tenant.
Great.
Awesome.
Well, let's move on to rolling out. Matt, what do you got in rolling out that interests you?
After having a ton of items in development, I got one solitary item in rolling out. This is a Microsoft Purview, new Microsoft Purview data security posture management experience. So Microsoft is introducing their words, major evolution of Purview DSPM to help organizations strengthen data security and confidentiality. And confidently embrace AI. This new experience will unify visibility and control across traditional data and AI-driven environments, allowing outcome-based guided workflows that turn insights into actionable steps. This definitely reads as marketing material from Microsoft on this particular item. So this is going to give you AI observability, enhanced posture reporting, intelligent security Copilot agents. Also, it's going to extend coverage to third-party signals from partners like BigID, Sierra, OneTrust, and Varonis. Those are big players in kind of the data management space. And it will make a centralized hub for managing data security posture in the era of AI. And they're also extending data risk assessments to Fabric and to item level analysis with new remediation actions like bulk disabling overshared SharePoint links. This is rolling out right now to standard worldwide tenants and should be done by the end of the month. That's all I got.
Wonderful.
Tamara.
I found a couple in development. Microsoft Teams meeting participants can request collaborative annotation sessions. In Microsoft Teams meetings, participants who are not sharing their screen can request to start a collaborative annotation session while a screen or window is being shared. The active sharer presenter must approve the request before annotations start for everyone in the meeting. Organizers and co-organizers can control who can start annotations through the new meeting option setting under participant. And our choices are everyone, which is default, or active sharer. And then, I love this, SharePoint, new SharePoint experience. Hmm. Microsoft is introducing a reimagined SharePoint experience designed to be simple, intuitive, centered on core jobs of discovering knowledge, publishing content, and building solutions. This update establishes the foundation for AI assisted creation across the product. This includes an updated information architecture and cohesive design language, delivering a clean and consistent experience across surfaces. And this should start appearing in everybody's tenant.
Woohoo!
So I have barely gotten my fingertips around, what is SharePoint, and now they're going to change it. So I'm excited in more of a roller coaster ride, my bar doesn't come down kind of way.
I'm going to go into your office. You're going to be sitting there going,
All right, in Outlook, draft, edit, and format emails conversationally with Copilot and Outlook. So in Outlook, Copilot now works side by side with the user to draft, refine, and format emails conversationally, powered by the same agentic capabilities available in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. And I'll tell you, I really think that Copilot learns how you speak and want to be interacted with based on the prompts that you put in. Because my Copilot is getting kind of sassy. And I'm a sassy prompter.
I could have told it that.
Yeah, I could get my friends to tell me that. All right, Microsoft Teams, last one for me. Quick access to read items from unread only view. So Teams chat and channel lists can now be filtered to show unread items only. I love this feature. This is what Jennifer Mason calls a delighter. When this filter is applied, hovering over a section reveals an eye icon next to the section name. Selecting the eye icon, which is just fun to say, opens a list of read chats or channels within that section, allowing you to open them without leaving the unread only view. That is cool. Tom, what do you have in rolling out?
So let me go back up to the top and take the ones that have not already been taken, with the exception of preview things. So for Copilot, branded footer in the Microsoft 365 Copilot application. So if you wanted the bottom of your page to have some special branding on it now, you're going to be able to do that. So you can leverage this organization supported logo already managed in the admin center, display it in the bottom of the chat screen, paired with a fixed label that said approved by. So that's coming out in May and is coming out to standard worldwide because it's for Copilot. Then we have, this is going to make so many people so happy, Microsoft Teams add breakout room participants in bulk using CSV files. So you don't have to sit there and add them all individually and take all the time that would take. Do all your CSV files ahead of time and then make sure you have a co-organizer and you say, hey, take these files and put them out in the other rooms there. So support for breakout rooms, bulk assignment using CSV file, helping organizers save time when setting up breakout rooms. So that's going to be a huge time savings. That's coming out this month in Worldwide Teams. And then Microsoft Copilot provides coaching feedback in chat as you draft, edit, and format emails. Kind of getting back to the thing of, hey, I'm going to listen to you and help you do better, whether you want it or not. Copilot now provides coaching feedback on email drafts via chat and can apply suggestions directly to your message. Users have the option to choose which suggestions are applied, and Copilot applies or updates your email in place. That's coming out in May and is coming out to Outlook and the Worldwide Copilot tenant. And that's it for me, actually.
Great. Why don't we go into launched? Matt,
Okay.
what do you have in launched?
I got two. One of them, Outlook, data loss prevention policy, tips, and override for Outlook Mobile. Outlook Mobile now supports DLP policy tips, helping users avoid accidental data leaks. When sensitive content is detected, users are alerted with inline tips or pop-ups based on admin configured rules. This update aligns DLP behaviors across all Outlook contents for consistent compliance enforcement. This launched this month to standard worldwide tenants. And lastly, I've got Microsoft Purview data security investigations, analyze files tied to audit log activities. This update will speed up analysis of exfiltrated content by launching DSI directly from the unified audit log activity. In DSI, build your audit log query by specifying criteria such as time range, activities, users, and keywords. DSI then automatically pulls the associated files into the investigation. This is really cool. These data security investigations allow you to understand what is happening with your data within your tenant, and being able to connect DSI directly into the audit logs, right, where you're going to see activity of someone emailing a file or externally sharing a file or exfiltrating a file. It speeds up the entire process. And anyone who has run searches out of the unified audit log before knows that it is an experience. And one that usually ends up like taking 4 searches to finally get the syntax right for what you're looking for. This was launched this month and came out to standard worldwide tenants. That's all I've got.
Fabulous. I've got nothing. Tom, what do you have?
PowerPoint, create edited images with the model of your choice. And I'll be perfectly blunt here. I've never heard of these particular models, but I don't do images a lot in AI either. You can now choose your preferred image model, including OpenAI's GPT image, Black Forest Labs Flux, and Microsoft's MAI image, and more for smart dynamic selection when creating or editing pages or images in Copilot with PowerPoint, or when generating a new presentation or page. Coming out in May, PowerPoint, Copilot, and the worldwide. You just want me to take the cancellation since I'm going for it?
I've got it covered.
Okay.
So OneNote, boost productivity using voice with Copilot on OneNote Noble. So this capability is being delivered as part of a unified multimodal capture experience in Copilot notebooks in OneNote, which will combine voice, images, and type notes into a single session. So if you want to track this, it's roadmap ID 559095. And Microsoft apologizes for any inconvenience.
But not very much, because they do the same thing for the next 3.
Yes, there's a couple repeats on the cancellations. And then it goes into the OneNote Copilot. OneNote brings notes from videos and images. But again, that's going to be combined into that one that we talked about earlier. And the only one that's different, Microsoft Teams, chat with anyone who has an email address. I thought we had this as long as their team didn't block your domain. So Microsoft is not releasing this feature at this time and apologizes for the inconvenience this may have caused. But you were going to be able to start a chat with anyone who has an email address, even if they're not on Teams, because they would receive an invite for them to join the chat session as a guest. And then you'd be able to chat, share files, and start calls with Teams. So
that one
they're
went over
not
like a lead
releasing that
balloon
feature
in
at
our
this time.
It's like, nope, we're not doing that. No way.
No, not so much.
Nope.
All right. Does anyone have anything to add for the good of the order?
No, I do not.
No. All right. The only thing I have to add is that TechCon Seattle has their early bird pricing up. So if you're in the Pacific Northwest or plan a trip to the Pacific Northwest in August, that is a great conference where you actually get to meet the speakers, talk to them, and talk about your particular use cases. So that's TechCon Seattle.
And Tamara is presenting workshops and regular sessions. So if you want to
Yes.
see her
Yes,
in person, you'll get to do that.
we could meet. We could have lunch. It would be fabulous. All right. Well, thanks so much for attending, everybody. I hope you learned something new. I hope we were helpful, and we'll see you next week. Bye
everyone.
now.
Bye, everyone.